What's up, guys? Joe from SRHQ. Today we're going to take a look at the Great Eastern Cutlery Ancient TC Barlow. This is from the 2018 lineup, and it's in the Muscadine Sawcut bone. Great looking knife. I've wanted one of these for quite some time now. I missed out on the initial offering. However, I was able to find a pretty decent deal on an Instagram sale, so I went ahead and pulled the trigger. It's not a particularly rare knife, at least as far as TCs are concerned. 506 of these were produced in 2018. So if you're into TC Barlows, if you really like the ancient TCs, this one might be a good one to look for. Lots are available on the secondary market at pretty reasonable prices. So yeah, this is a special factory order from Charlie Campagna, as are all TC Barlows. And if you're not familiar with the ancient TCs, what it basically is it's just meant to look like an old, beat up, battered and abused vintage antique Barlow knife. And I think Great Eastern Cutlery did a really great job with the aesthetics of this knife. You can see the cracking, the pitting. The blade's a spear point blade. It's a relatively thin spear point blade. It looks like it's been sharpened, 1,000 times over the years. There's some cracking in that saw cut. The saw cut's done really good, by the way. You can see these pins, the spring pins are left with a hammered look. Just overall, GEC just hit it out of the park with this design. Let's get in for a closer look at this knife. We have a 3.5-inch handle. It's on a classic teardrop pattern. This is the GEC 15 frame. You have a steel extended bolster. Takes up about a third of the total length of the handle. That's characteristic of a Barlow knife. It's meant for added strength, added rigidity. The Muscadine Sawcut bone, I think, looks really great. I really like how GEC does their sawcut. I think they do a really great job on it. You can see there's some cracking in that sawcut, adding to the vintage effect of the knife. The body pins are finished, and the spring pins are left with this hammered look. I think that looks really cool. You can see around the edges, great pocket worn look. Looks like it's been carried around, for years and years and years. And take a look at that bolster. I think this is the star of the knife. They did a great job giving this bolster that aged look. You got cracks, you have pitting, you have patina. Really, really great job on that bolster. You can see the pivot pin isn't exactly flush, lending to that unfinished look of the knife. Blade's going to open with a nail nick, does feature a half stop, and it opens up to a really cool looking spear point blade. 2 3/4 inches long. As I said before, it's kind of like a skinny spear point blade. Looks like it's been sharpened 1,000 times. The kick is actually really short on this as well. But that being said, it still contacts the spring you have plenty of room in there that you can snap this knife shut, and you're not going to develop any blade wrap or anything like that. Full flat ground. It came with kind of like a patinaed look. I think that looks really cool. The swedge goes all the way down the full length of the blade. That's something unique you don't see normally on every knife. Here's the billboard on it. You see CC for Charlie Campagna, and this little symbol in the middle, that is the symbol on the Sicilian flag. I guess Charlie Campagna is Sicilian. Blade markings. We have TC Cutlery, made in the USA. GEC CAR on the reverse, and I find this really interesting where you have the model number. You have 15118, but if you notice, the third number is missing. Third number normally designates what type of blade this is, and this being such a unique blade, I think they're only going to use it on this knife, so they didn't give it its own number. They just left it blank. I think that's pretty cool. The fit and finish on this knife is just about perfect. The parts that are not perfect were done on purpose, and I will walk you guys through that and show you guys what I'm talking about. We'll start with these transitions between the bolster and the cover. As you guys can see, the covers are quite proud of those bolsters. I'll just show it compared to another TC Barlow that I have that is much more refined, much more finished. Very smooth transition. You know, this knife was made to look like an antique Barlow knife, and historically Barlow knives were never meant to live up to the standards and expectations that we hold knives to today. A Barlow knife was a working man's knife. Anyone could afford it, you know, and they weren't finished. They weren't refined to the expectations that we have today. So this would be very characteristic of a knife that you would find if you just walked into an antique store and found an old Barlow knife from the early 1900s. You know, they would have this unfinished look to it. So I think GEC did a really great job of portraying that. Along with that, we have this pin. The pivot pin does stick out a little bit. Again, we'll compare that to the other TC. Nowadays, we expect everything to be ground down, highly polished, almost invisible. Back then, it wasn't such a big deal if you guys could see the pin. And even though you can see the pin, there's absolutely no blade play to this knife. So really great job. Other than that, just the hammered look of these spring pins was done on purpose. I think it looks great, adds to that rustic vintage look. But if we look at the back, we have that same great GEC quality, no gapping in the back spring. Really great spring termination, really great centering. So aside from the parts that they left unfinished on purpose, this knife is just really, really well done. Spear point blade, grinds are done really well, tips done really well. Yeah, everything about it is just really, really quality made. Overall, the action on the knife is really great. Really snappy. It's got a great sound, good walk and talk. I'd say the pull weight is probably a 6.5 maybe. It's right up on par with the other TCs that I own or have handled in the past. You can see here in the closed position, spring is completely flush. At the half stop, we are just a little bit proud, and fully open, it is completely flush. It's got a strong back spring. Blade wants to spring back into position. And of course, if it does happen to fold on you, you do have that half stop to help protect your hand. So yeah, guys, really impressed with this knife. Really happy to have it in my collection. I think Great Eastern Cutlery did an outstanding job on this knife. So that's going to do it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video on the 2018 Ancient Barlow in the Muscadine Sawcut bone. If you guys want to continue seeing content like this, don't forget to like this video. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. Subscribe to this channel. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.